Well, well, well. By my estimation, we got 4 notable soundbar and ish systems that we know of slated to be released in 2025. Let's do it. Gotta start with Samsung. They move the most units. So if you were bitching that the Q990D was perfect other than the sub being too big, well, have I got the system for you. The Q990E. Nope. That sounds weird, not enough consonants at the end. Let's skip to F. Yes, Samsung's new flagship soundbar system, the Q990F, word, the bar and surrounds remain exactly the same, or something very close to that, and the sub is replaced with a cuter, cubier, possibly dual woofer, force-canceling little number that, to give the devil its due, has received positive reports from those able to get their ears on it. I'd classify the sub expectations on the Q990 series as hovering somewhere below the zenith, so exceeding our expectations even with an adorable sub seems plausible. Given the lack of change from the Q990D and 6 versions of the 6-sided form factor, some carpeted, some not, my take is that Samsung thinks they have a winning formula for a soundbar kit. They might have a point. Their interest in blurring the line between soundbar kit and traditional home theater, the latter signified by numerous voluminous components, multiple subs, multiple speakers up front, seems bleaker than ever, especially considering the deafening silence about a new music frame or Q Symphony update enabling 2 music frames up front alongside the Q990F. As far as I know, we're still stuck with 1, which I maintain is expert-level trolling. Rather, yes, it smells like Samsung is locking the component count to 4, and with that constraint, they're going to 85% software and 15% hardware optimize to make the magic happen. So SpaceFit Sound Pro, adaptive voice amplifier, adaptive sound mode, all those AI-infused sound tweakers will become a continually larger part of the strategy, along with the option to combine the Q990 system with an equally modern, I assume continually better sounding Samsung TV. If you want something more a la carte, more experimental, go check out Sonos, Sony, or Nakamichi, says Samsung. So beyond the new sub, arguably the biggest hardware change in 5 years, how is the Q990F different than the Q990D? Before we get into that, let's baseline what the D and F share. Both are 11.1.4 channel systems with 22-ish drivers distributed throughout the 4 components, though the F sub may have 2 drivers. Feature highlights include wireless Atmos and DTS:X, no HDMI cable needed, HDMI 2.1 inputs with support for things like 4K 120, variable refresh rate, HDR10+, Dolby Vision, the list goes on. There's a battery of sound optimization technology. SpaceFit Sound Pro, for example, continues to room correct on a daily to weekly basis. You also got Chromecast in addition to Bluetooth and AirPlay. Beyond the sub change, the F possibly got some murky chip upgrades and, as mentioned by Engadget, more cooler AI, which is manifested as advanced forms of active voice amplifier and Q Symphony, both receiving a Pro moniker for helping to improve dialogue this round. Before moving on from the F, I would like to dust off the What Hi-Fi article that provided an account of mysterious new Samsung technology that the reporter claims made the soundbar sound like a legit home theater system with wide front separation. How impressive the demo actually was or how much of that tech made it to the F is unknown, but it is a very interesting question. Thank you, Daniel. You're welcome. Now, some of the impressive stuff What Hi-Fi was hearing could at least partially be explained by the recent Eclipse audio announcement. High level, it's a less lockdown Dolby Atmos competitor developed by Samsung and Google that gives content creators the option to adjust sound location, intensity, and spatial reflections, which could very well sound extra super special on Samsung hardware, though I'm not sure how much further this technology will go beyond YouTube channels with dedicated sound engineers. I guess we'll see. The CES Q990F disclosure is but a tease. It'll get the full buyer's guide treatment when the system is released, and of course, you can expect a detailed review when I inevitably buy the system. All right, Nakamichi coming in hot with an update to the Shockwafe series. People make fun of me when I say behold, so
behold, the Shockwafe Wireless 11.2.6.
The normal course of action would be to make the Shockwafe more like the previous Shockwafe, the 9.2 ARC, then a completely different product line, specifically the Dragon. Nakamichi is anything but normal, so I will use the Dragon as the primary basis of comparison. First off, the Shockwafe Wireless got a new driver set partner.
Punktkiller. My Danish blows.
No AMT tweeters on the Shockwafe. This partnership may be promising, especially if they're more effective at spreading sound than the Dragon driver set, which it could be they underachieved a smidge on the woofers. In a complete I bet you didn't see this one coming, the Shockwafe soundbar got 2 more drivers than the Dragon main unit, 11 more drivers than the last Shockwafe soundbar. The surrounds have a strong resemblance with the Dragon surrounds, with a bipolar design reinforced with a driver tweeter pair on the horizontal channels and an upward firing woofer. However, this upward firing woofer cannot rotate like the Dragons. Each base unit's woofer is 10 inches, so 2 inches larger than the base Dragon configuration, though there were 2/8 on each one of those. Also, like previous Shockwafe subs, these are downward facing. My experience with downward facing woofers and soundbar kits is more consistently positive. I'm thinking of the Cinema 600 sub and the JBL's Bar 9 and 1300X. And it's a Punktkiller woofer as well, which seems promising somehow. And perhaps not surprising, the sub is reported to support, you'll never guess, 20 Hertz. I do hope these subs delight, though if they do, Dragon owners are gonna make that noise. I'm remote viewing the future. I would like to point out that one very real advantage that the previous Shockwafe had over just about every other soundbar system out there is the 4 separate surround speakers, which makes a substantial difference on the spatial front. Whatever the next iteration of the Dragon is, I think 2 sets of surrounds with quality speakers would really take whatever Nock is tilting at to the next level. One little detail on the Shockwafe branding caught my attention, and that is the Ultra appending the adaptive height dispersion, where more ADH means more spread of the height audio. I didn't notice much of a difference at all with that setting on the Dragon, but you know, Ultra was not part of the plan. So I do wonder if height dispersion is improved here. There are 2 more tweeters on top of the bar, so an improvement is hopeable, I think. Sound dispersion and spatial effectiveness will be the quality I'm most interested in. I'm already pretty confident the sound can get big. It's comforting to know that the 2 HDMI inputs, not 3 like the Dragon, are 2.1 and can pass all the stuff the 2.1s could on the main unit. So 4K 120, 8K 60, Dolby Vision, HDR10+, variable refresh rate, and auto low latency mode. And what do you know? The Shockwafe Wireless got AirPlay, some internet compatibility. I asked Nakamichi if you can do over-the-air updates with the Shockwafe, and they said yes. Wi-Fi is supported. The big old Dragon remote, which I find charming in its confidence, is carried over to the Shockwafe, which gives you something approximating full control at surface level. Though it seems there's less controlling to be done as there's no on-screen display. I think the Shockwafe reads as a more savvy system than the Dragon, and it's $700 less than the reduced price base Dragon. $2,500 is not cheap, but it's sub-astronomical, which takes some pressure off this thing. A minor point. I did notice that Nak is using the term soundbar and not main unit, and, not making overt traditional home theater comparisons. I think this was a mistake with the Dragon, and they should stick with, we are pushing the boundaries of what a soundbar can be, and not make claims about besting categorically different systems with innate physical advantages. The baddest soundbar is a more singular message customers can get behind. It attracts less criticism. And I'll close on the Shockwave Ultra by suggesting that the performance on this system will be telling of how the Dragon version 2 may be improved. If Nak does move in a promising direction with this system, I have confidence they can build on that with the Dragon line. Speculation is the most fun thing about all of this. Well, the Q990F and Shockwave really are the two soundbars of note that were revealed at CES, though there's a follow-up I want to do on the Klipsch Flexus Core 300 from my last video. So as a reminder, the Flexus Core 300 along with the 200 branded surrounds and sub are slated for release sometime early this year, the winter timeframe. I'd consider watching the second half of this video where I give a fuller brief on the Core 300 and the peripherals. I'd say the biggest selling point or the most unique aspect of this bar is the inclusion of Dirac Live Advanced Room Correction software aimed at making your room sound more symmetrical by limiting asynchronous reflections. So what does it mean that the 300 has this technology? Well, there is a limited bandwidth license you get when you buy the Core 300 that handles frequencies from 20 to 500 Hertz. The full bandwidth frequency license, 20 Hertz to 20,000 Hertz, will be made available at some point on the Dirac site for some amount of money. They will accept your payment, don't you worry. Okay, one more system since I'm so hard on all the manufacturers for not offering their version of the Sony Quad. The Hisense HT-Saturn. I have not yet evaluated their audio equipment, so I won't start speculating too creatively quite yet. It's a 5-speaker set, and number 5 is the included sub. Everything runs through the control box like the Sony Quad. Hisense says it's meant to complement their 85-inch plus TVs. Fair enough. The system is a perplexing 4.1.2 channel system, which the f*** you thinking, Hisense? Good grief, that's a huge miss. This system has 13 drivers, so 12 in the 4 satellites and 1 in the sub. Like the Quad, using a Hisense TV will give this system a center channel. The Saturn ships with a room correction feature that will reportedly allow you similar flexibility and placement as the Quad and its sound field optimization technology. Forbes reports that the control box does have an eARC and an HDMI input. I did not find out what that input passes. There may be internet connectivity, but AirPlay and Chromecast are not supported. Just Bluetooth 5.3 for the win. The Saturn really does come across as a pale comparison to the Quad. 4 fewer drivers on the satellites, a 6-inch sub, an unproven audio pedigree, 2 not 4 upward firing channels. I think it's cut and dry that the Quad remains the genuine article when it comes to this form factor, but I'll keep an open mind. Okay, as tradition mandates on this kind of video, I like to keep things in perspective and close highlighting the tech that truly matters.
The company says it's designed to recreate the joy of encountering and interacting with a human baby. Whether or not it does that, you be the judge.
Oh no.
Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.